The floating orbs documented video evidence from Skinwalker Ranch balls of light-stalk cattle in the Utah desert, captured on camera across 3 decades of scientific monitoring. Beneath the expansive night sky of northeastern Utah, scientific cameras record something that should not exist. Luminous spheres, ranging from the size of a basketball to objects large enough to cover an entire court, drift across the scrubland with movements that defy natural explanation. The location is Skinwalker Ranch, a property that has become synonymous with documented anomalous phenomena. The time period spans from 1996 to 2004, when the National Institute for Discovery Science maintains continuous surveillance of the property. What their cameras capture becomes some of the most compelling physical evidence in modern paranormal research. The orbs appear without warning. Unlike the brief flashes associated with meteors or the static glow of celestial bodies, these objects demonstrate characteristics that separate them from all known natural phenomena. They hover motionless above the desert floor. They accelerate to velocities that blur their form on video. They descend to ground level, interact with the environment, and in documented cases, appear to enter the Earth itself as if passing through solid matter into some unseen realm below. The National Institute for Discovery Science establishes operations at Skinwalker Ranch with a mandate to apply scientific methodology to reports of paranormal activity. The team deploys multiple camera systems across the property, creating overlapping fields of observation. The equipment runs continuously, capturing the landscape in both visible and infrared spectrums. The goal is documentation rather than speculation, evidence rather than theory. What emerges from thousands of hours of footage is a pattern that repeats with unsettling consistency. The orbs return, not once, not twice, but across months and years, appearing in video documentation that provides an independently verifiable record separate from human testimony. The spheres of light manifest in specific areas of the ranch property with a frequency that eliminates random chance. Investigators observe them moving across pastures where cattle graze. They watch the orbs descend from altitude to ground level, following trajectories that demonstrate apparent intentionality rather than the drift of natural atmospheric phenomena. The size variation alone distinguishes these objects from conventional explanations. Ball lightning, the atmospheric phenomenon most commonly invoked to explain luminous aerial spheres, typically measures between 1 and 50 centimeters in diameter and persists for only seconds. The orbs documented at Skinwalker Ranch exceed these parameters dramatically. Some measure several feet across. Others are described by investigators as massive, their glow illuminating sections of landscape the size of sports fields. The duration of visibility extends far beyond the fleeting existence of ball lightning, with some orbs remaining visible for extended periods as cameras track their movement. The behavior patterns deepen the mystery. Natural luminous phenomena respond to atmospheric conditions, air currents, electromagnetic gradients. The Skinwalker orbs demonstrate what investigators describe as purposeful navigation. They change direction without apparent external influence. They accelerate and decelerate in ways inconsistent with objects subject to wind or gravitational drift. They appear to track specific targets, following cattle across pastures in footage that creates profound unease among those who review it. In one documented incident that becomes central to the NIDS investigation, cameras capture an orb in close proximity to a calf. The sphere of light hovers near the young animal, its glow illuminating the surrounding vegetation. The footage shows the orb maintaining position relative to the calf for a period of observation. The next morning, ranch personnel discover the calf has perished. The condition of the remains presents the characteristic marks of cattle mutilation, phenomena that have plagued the ranch and surrounding region for decades. Surgical precision, absence of normal predation patterns, unexplained characteristics that resist conventional veterinary explanation. The correlation between orb appearances and subsequent cattle deaths emerges not from a single incident, but from statistical analysis across multiple events. The NIDS team documents the pattern with scientific rigor. Orb activity near livestock correlates with subsequent discovery of mutilated animals at rates that exceed random probability. Whether the orbs themselves serve as agents of the mutilations, or whether they represent monitoring entities observing events caused by other forces, remains unresolved. The data establishes correlation without confirming causation, a distinction the investigators maintain with scientific precision. Perhaps most disturbing among the documented orb phenomena are reports from investigators who describe visual content within the spheres themselves. Not simply glowing balls of plasma or atmospheric electrical discharge, but objects that appear to contain imagery, scenes visible within the luminous exterior. Investigators report observing movement within the orbs, forms that suggest depth and dimension beyond simple light emission. The descriptions evoke comparison to windows or portals rather than simple energy phenomena, though the metaphor strains against the limits of language when describing something without precedent in conventional understanding. The video documentation from the NIDS period becomes part of an evidence base that extends beyond civilian paranormal research. The material is presented to the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, the Pentagon initiative that investigates unidentified aerial phenomena with implications for national security. The fact that military intelligence receives and reviews documentation from Skinwalker Ranch indicates the degree to which the phenomena documented there transcend simple ghost stories or local legend. Something occurs at this property that attracts attention from the highest levels of government scientific inquiry. When NIDS concludes its operations in 2004, the orb phenomena do not cease. Subsequent investigation teams document the same category of events using independent equipment and methodology. The current investigation, documented for the History Channel, captures orb activity on multiple camera systems simultaneously. The multi-angle documentation provides triangulation data, allowing investigators to calculate position, size, and velocity with greater precision than single-camera observation permits. The orbs continue to appear. The pattern persists across changes in ownership, investigation teams, and technological approaches. The consistency of documentation across 3 decades and multiple independent research groups elevates the Skinwalker orb phenomena beyond the typical problems that plague paranormal evidence. This is not a single witness making claims without corroboration. This is not ambiguous photographic evidence subject to multiple interpretations. Multiple investigation teams, using different equipment across different time periods, document the same category of phenomena in the same location. The repetition transforms individual anomalies into a documented pattern that demands explanation. The characteristics that distinguish the Skinwalker orbs from natural phenomena create a profile that appears in other contexts. When the Pentagon releases declassified UAP footage in 2020, the videos include spherical objects demonstrating flight characteristics similar to those documented at the ranch. Navy pilots report encounters with spherical objects that accelerate beyond known aircraft capabilities, that demonstrate apparent awareness of observation, that appear on multiple sensor systems simultaneously. The parallels between military UAP documentation and civilian documentation from Skinwalker Ranch suggest these may represent different observations of the same underlying phenomenon. Whether the orbs represent technology, consciousness, natural phenomena beyond current scientific understanding, or something that defies categorization entirely remains unresolved. What cannot be dismissed is the documentation itself. The video evidence exists. It can be reviewed, analyzed, subjected to scrutiny. The footage shows objects that should not exist behaving in ways that violate established understanding of atmospheric physics, plasma dynamics, and aerial phenomena. The ranch continues to generate documentation. Cameras continue to record, and the orbs continue to appear, drifting across the Utah darkness with apparent purpose, following patterns that no investigation has successfully explained. The land keeps its secrets even as it reveals them, offering evidence while withholding understanding, providing documentation of phenomena that challenge the boundaries of accepted reality. If you found this case compelling, subscribe to Vanishing Roads for more documented paranormal investigations from around the world. This story was created with AI assistance based on documented case files. All events reference real investigations and reported incidents.